In general, people holding assets are concerned about asset values. The questions they ask are similar to, would my property drop in price? Would my asset lose value? Or would it gain value with time? Definitely when we buy property or any other asset, we look at the growth in value that's possible or the potential growth in value, as well as the return or the income that we can achieve on an annual basis. Today, more than ever, people are asking this question. Will property markets, will property prices drop further? What will happen post-COVID-19? What will happen within a period where liquidity issues are expected to show in several countries and globally? What will happen when tourism is limited, the move of people is limited, economies are challenged, and the global economic situation is dire? Would my property drop in value? Shall I sell my property today? All of those are questions you get. On top of those, after you take forward any action, let's say you sell your property, the question that comes on is, what would I do with the money I generated from selling of that property? Shall I keep it in cash? What will happen to all of the currencies that I may be keeping the money in? Would I keep it in USD? Would I keep it in AED? Would I keep it in GBP? Would I keep it in euros? Which would survive this mess that is taking place in our world today? To start with answering questions, let's start with the logical thing. Property prices are expected to drop. Yes, logically they may drop. Does this mean if I'm an asset holder, I should throw my property or sell it immediately? Here comes many other questions. But prior to that, let's talk about two people. One person is an asset holder, and the other is somebody who does have money and was planning to buy an asset and wants to know, shall I buy an asset today or shall I wait for a better time? To answer the person who does hold an asset, if you sell your asset today, you're mostly going into a currency, and that currency most probably will not hold value. And most probably you will not be, neither am I, the right person or the able person to understand what currency will maintain value, will retain value, and what currency will hold the buying power or the most buying powers for me to benefit from my property sale and having the money in cash over time. At the same time, if I'm an asset holder today, I should understand that when I bought that asset, I bought it with a long-term view. Now, if you bought property, the right kind of property, and now we'll talk about properties in general, as properties are not one sector today. The property market today is several sectors, which will be impacted differently. Each sector, even each category of property, let's say offices, commercial space, there's different categories of office space that will be impacted differently. Now, yes, the general theme may be a drop in value, but some may drop more than others. Some may recover faster than others. There is industries that have not been affected negatively with what's happening. On the opposite, today they are being affected positively. If you're an owner of warehouses and you rent warehouses and one of the warehouses got vacant because it used to be rented for somebody who rents or manufactures furniture, and now he doesn't need that much space. Remember that most probably your coming tenant can be an Amazon or a Noon or some player that is impacted positively with what's taking place. Now, if I sell my property, will I go into cash? Will I go into another asset? Go into cash? Where will I be with my cash in the coming few years? What would happen and how would my cash earn? Remember, we discussed this before in a previous chat. If we had a property that's producing, call it only 6-7% a year, 5% a year, and cash which is producing 0, and you saved yourself from a 15, 5, 10, 20% drop, in 3-4 years, the cash you lost from income equates to the cash you could have won by the value that have been lost. So you would have broken even at best if you've sold your property. Now, this applies also to somebody who wants to buy property and is waiting for the perfect moment, ultimate perfect moment. which no one knows. The ultimate perfect moment is the bottom. The ultimate wrong moment is the top. No one knows where's the top. No one knows where's the bottom. We know the parameters around it. And if you're in a city like our city, for example, Dubai, where prices have dropped in the past few years by 30, 40, sometimes more as a percentage from the prices prior to 2014 or 2015, then what would you expect that it would drop further by? 5, 10, 15, be it 20. You still would not be able to make up the loss of income. Remember, the income that is or more logical to collect, while the drop in the market is not something that you can predict as good. Income can be predicted to a level. So if you're an asset holder, do not run to sell your property. Do not panic. And remember, this is the time in general, not this time, maybe not this moment, maybe after a week, maybe prior to this by a week, today as well, is to buy the assets, the right assets, because today is challenging for property holders in general who may have a liquidity issue on the side. So if you don't have a liquidity issue, if you're not overexposed, over leveraged, then you may be in a good position, not only to hold your property, but to improve your position. If you hold a portfolio, today maybe is the time to rebalance your portfolio, but today is definitely not the time to sell parts of your portfolio and go into cash. Some of you may say, I'll go into gold. I believe you know that it's not advisable to have more than 2 to 5% maybe of your funds, of your wealth in such a commodity. Yes, it may be a hold of value in a way or another. I don't personally believe in it, but regardless, let's say it's a hold of value. If it's a hold of value and you let it run through the last 30 years, you would know and you would notice that at points of time, it took 20 years for a buyer of gold and a holder of gold to make back his money. His money. Remember, gold also doesn't pay you annually, while property does. You tell me, let me go into equities. I would tell you a bad manager or a bad CEO or a failure here or there may get you a much bigger loss than you may expect in a property market. So if you're an asset holder, retain your asset. Yes, professionally understand which assets you should hold, which assets you should sell and replace, not sell and go into cash. As long as you have a balanced portfolio and you have enough cash to sustain and you are properly leveraged, not over leveraged, then you're okay. If you're not leveraged, we'll talk about it later. Now, if you are somebody who does not own property today, while you want to buy a house to live in, or you want to buy investment, or you're into so much of cash, you hold so much of cash and you are not invested today, it's wise to look at things and say, what would happen in the coming 1, 2, 3 years? Would there be a drop? Maybe. Most probably there will be a drop. So I can confirm it for you in a way or other at a big percentage so that no one will come up and tell me you can't predict the future. No, I can't. No one can. However, again, loss of income, because if you wait for a year, most probably you'll be ending up waiting for 5 years. The loss of income may equate, no, but exceed the benefit you can get from a drop in price. So buy the asset, the right asset at the right price. Bargain today, get the right asset. Negotiate the right way and buy the right asset, not the cheap asset. Not the asset that can't be sold, thus is cheap today. Buy the right asset that can create a sustainable income for you so that you can not only benefit from the profit of returns, but also, even if the asset drops in value, you can recover faster than others. That's my advice for people who don't hold property, and my advice to people who do hold property. In general, guys, if you do hold assets today, retain your assets, understand your assets, understand what pays you. Today is not the day for those who have. Today is the day for those who produce. I said it a week ago and somebody is asking, what does that mean? It means if I produce today while somebody else beside me had a great legacy and owns money, but has not been set today to be able to produce. I have an edge over him. Today, an asset that produces is better than an asset that sits there non-producing. So buy property and assets that have intrinsic value, that pay you a dividend as you go. While they're there, nothing will change. It will not disappear. Have a long-term view, because a short-term view most probably today will be wrong for any asset or any investment. Make your day a great day. Maintain the right kind of investment. Subscribe to our, Thomas is telling me daily, subscribe to our channel to get much more of property advice and facts about property. We will be discussing in the coming few days how to maximize on your property holding. If you hold property, you don't want to use the rest of your cash, you're not so leveraged. How can you maximize on your holding and reposition your portfolio the right way? We'll talk about how to negotiate the right transaction. We'll talk about much more, and there's much more material that's already there that will hopefully help you do the right choices. Make your day a great day.